podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Dragon's Lair podcast in association with Riverside Sports Bar, the home for live sport and great burgers in Newport. Joining me for this one is Gavin Thomas and Gareth Leclerc. Hello, gents. Welcome back. How are you?
Yeah, it seems strange not having been on the pod for a couple of weeks, so it's nice to be back.
Yeah, nice to be back. Nice to have been over Rodney Parade as well. Missed it.
Yeah. It feels like we've been away for ages, doesn't it? But yeah, we're back. We are back. And then we're off again for a couple of weeks because the schedule is insane. Thank you for your messages while we've been away. A few people have got in touch. Jacob Lewis in America, because we're worldwide, boys. Dragons at RFC are worldwide. Love the podcast. You're in Indiana, he says. He goes on to say, my college team, the Purdue Boilermakers. Have you heard of them, Gav? Purdue Boilermakers?
I know Purdue, yeah.
So he says his college team, the Purdue Boilermakers, motto is Boiler Up. And he says that fits nicely with Up the Dragons. So, yeah, brilliant. Thanks for listening to us in Indiana. Fair play. Lewis Smith got in touch on Facebook DMs. He just said he loves the podcast. He looks forward to each episode. Thank you very much for that, Lewis. And we had 1 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, and I love this. It's a bit of a long one, but we always read out the 5-star reviews, don't we, on this pod? So this is from somebody called Tom Cleary on Apple Podcasts, and this is what he says. Absolutely love this pod. As a lifelong Dragon supporter, it's genuinely the highlight of my week, and I always look forward to listening every Monday. What makes this stand out is how honest and straight you are about the team. You say it exactly as it is. The balance between backing the Dragons and being realistic is spot on. And it's brilliant to hear real opinions on both the team's performances and individual players. I've supported the Dragons since I was 5 years old, growing up watching the likes of Kerry Sweeney and Percy Montgomery. So you're in proper, knowledgeable chat about the club means a lot. What else do you say? It's also great to see the Dragons starting to hit some form again, and the pod really captures that buzz around the club. Me and my mate are hoping to get down to Rodney Parade soon, ideally for the Edinburgh game in May. Keep up the great work. Genuinely the best rugby pod out there. Thank you very much, Tom. That's very kind. That's a great review, isn't it, boys?
That's amazing to hear.
Yeah, that's very, very kind.
The best rugby pod out there. I mean, that's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's accurate.
I do think it's a good pod, but yeah, thank you very much. I love getting positive feedback, and we've had quite a few people getting in touch saying Mr. Pod, when's it back? So here we are. Yeah, thank you for getting in touch. Right, news desk. Fair bit of news. Very busy. Should we start with the big news that broke on Sunday? Ryan Woodman has been called up to the Wales squad. Nice one, Ryan. The former Wales under-20s captain has 43 Dragons appearances, and he's featured in 13 of Dragons' 16 games this season. Woodman can, of course, play at back row and lock, so he's a nice versatile option there for Wales should they need to use him. Yeah, we're all pleased for Ryan, aren't we? We probably should have been there in the first place, shouldn't he?
Yeah, spot on. I think he's been really good this season, was strong last season as well. And like you said, he covers 6 and lock. I think it's only going to benefit him, even if he doesn't get any game time, just being in that squad, seeing what it's going to take to step up to that next level. Because he's certainly got international written all over him in the future. So, yeah, good stuff. Just come back in one piece, please, Ryan. But really pleased for him.
Yeah, me too. And he was outstanding again, wasn't he?
Yeah,
on
as
Saturday.
Always.
Yeah, he's been really, really good for us. A word, Gav, for Ryan Woodman, who's been called up to the Wales squad?
Well, it was really interesting. I was talking to a friend of the pod, Rhiannon Garth Jones, today, and she said, oh, what's he like? And I said, well, he's a kind of 6, because I know she likes a kind of physical 6. I said, he's a kind of 6 you like. He's not fancy. He'll get around the field. He'll knock people over, and he's good in the line-out. And I think that's the kind of player Wales have been craving.
Absolutely. I don't know if you'll get any actual game time, but I think him just being in the environment, now he's an official part of the Wales squad.
Yeah.
It's recognition, isn't it, for his hard work this season. He's been really, really good. So, yeah, super pleased.
I would hope they do give him some game time, though.
Maybe against Italy, perhaps that's an option. I don't know. I'd love to see him get some game time, but like I said, I'm just pleased that he gets a call up because it is recognition, isn't it, for your good form. So yeah, well done to Ryan.
Good stuff.
Injury news now. This feels like old news, but we haven't been on recording for a while, have we? South African tight ends Rob Hunt and Sibyl Damini are out for the rest of the season. Both players have gone under the knife. Damini's loan spell has now ended, so we're not going to see him again. I've been told he's gone back to South Africa as well, so that's probably
Oh, that's a shame.
the last we'll see of him. Yeah, that's what, well, Luke Yendel's dad wrote on one of the Facebook groups that he's gone back to South Africa. So, yeah, disappointing news. For me, though, Rob Hunt, that's a killer blow. I would argue that Hunt has been our best signing, works hard in the loose, solid scrummager. So whilst it's disappointing to lose both tight heads, because they've both been good, Sibo did a good job when he came on loan to us. Losing Rob Hunt is a massive blow. And I think we started to see on Saturday, didn't we? Exactly just how big of a blow losing Rob Hunt is. You can't sugarcoat this news, Gav. It's a huge blow for the Dragons, isn't it, losing what I think has been our best signing.
One of the reasons why we've been better this season is because we've had a set piece. And you can't, say it's purely because of Rob Hunt, but he's had a significant part in it, and we have been not as good in the scrummage when he's not there. Our best scrummaging this season has been Wyn Jones, him, and whoever's hooking at that particular point. So it is going to be a massive loss for us. And we, like you said, we saw it yesterday, didn't we? Because we were getting shifted off the ball repeatedly. And yeah, it was not a good watch. And yeah, he's out for the rest of the season, Rob Hunt, isn't he?
Yes, yeah.
And then Damini is gone back to South Africa now, so we're gonna, we're gonna have to live on scraps a little bit, aren't we?
We could really do with. Sorry, Gav, I was just going to say we could really do with Dylan Lewis coming back, but he's too busy podcasting with Alex Cuthbert at the minute. So maybe he will make an appearance soon. We need him to. We're looking a bit lighter.
Missing some top props, and we're about to play 3 South African teams.
I know.
It's not what you want to miss them against, is it? But
what could possibly go wrong?
It does. I agree with what you said, though, Gav. It has been a platform for us to play off this season, and Rob Hunt, and even not just his scrummaging, he's been brilliant work rate as well. He's potentially been up there for player of the season. So
I think that's what's characterised us, particularly from the point we started getting better. It's just the work rate has been just absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, and if it take someone like Levi Douglas, the amount of work he gets through, and it's just everybody does it. It's just a thing. We all hit hundreds of rucks and we all run hard and we all.
Yeah, absolutely. Forwards win matches, and that's why we've been doing all right this season, because we got a good set piece, good forwards. Well, the set piece didn't go well against Benetton, but we'll come on to that in a bit. But the set piece has generally gone
it absolutely
pretty
did
well.
Not.
No, it didn't. So disappointing news. I think that's going to have a massive impact on our season now. I think it's that big a blow. But we got Super Chrissy Coleman and Owain James. We'll talk about this later on, but I thought he did a decent job. He's only 20.
Yeah.
He's very promising. Yendel needs to step up now, I think, it's fair to say. We obviously need Dylan Lewis to come back. But big blow, losing Hunt. Friend of the pod, Rob Hunt, of course. Right, can I just do a quick plug? I did another joint podcast with the 1912 Exiles last week. Myself and Ed Bridges interviewed the leader of Newport City Council, Dimitri Petruni. We basically asked him what the council's vision is for professional sport in Newport, how far are the council willing to go to support Rodney Parade, and whether we'll ever see any actual development on the cabbage patch, because it's been going on for years and years and years. A lot of talk, no action. First thing to say is I like Dimitri. I thought he come across very well on that pod. He's a passionate supporter of grassroots and professional sport in the city, and he's a fan of the pod. He does listen to us as well. So I'd like to thank Ed Bridges for arranging that interview. It was all his work, nothing to do with me, and obviously Dimitri giving up his spare time to chat to us. Did any of you get the chance to listen? If so, what did you think?
I've listened to it on the train last week. Yeah, I think it was interesting, and clearly you'd had to kind of vet or he'd vetted the questions, but
yes,
and it did feel a bit, kind of, I don't think you could have really dug in, but he was honest enough, and you two kept him agile. I think, you didn't really let him just fluff you. So
No, I thought
it was,
he was pretty honest. I
yeah,
thought to be true, in fairness.
Yeah, I
Gareth,
enjoyed it. Yeah, it was a good listen, especially I live in Newport, so it was interesting
yeah,
to hear from him. And I did like his passion that he's got for sport.
yeah,
And it does sound like he's fighting the right battles for sport in Newport, but it does need to be backed up by actions. He said that himself. There was a little bit more on it at the Q&A as well. So it does sound like we've got a good relationship with the council and things are moving forward. So it's a little bit of watch this space. I can imagine he was a bit frustrated that he can't give specifics on some stuff, but let's just hope it does come to fruition because it sounds like we are working together. So that's the main thing.
yeah. The feedback has been mixed. We haven't had that much feedback from our listeners, but more so the 1912 Exiles listeners. Some people said they found the interview interesting, and Dimitri came across really well, said the interview was positive. Others have said they were disappointed at the lack of specifics, and they feel that the council aren't going to put a penny into the redevelopment. They're very sceptical, to say the least. And look, I completely understand all that, but let's be honest, we were never going to get specifics, were we? Because nothing specific has actually happened yet. So, you got to give Dimitri a bit of a break there. But the good news is, the council, they are very supportive of us, and county and Ronnie Parade. But Dimitri said himself, words mean nothing. That was his quote. Words mean nothing. So we need to see action. And I know this came up in the supposed Q&A, which we're going to come on to in a bit, Gareth, so you can expand more on that. The one thing that did annoy me, though, did you hear when Ed was talking about Wrexham Football Club? And he said that
Yeah.
they had 18 million quid from the Welsh government to redevelop the Cop stand. Bear in mind,
Outrageous.
they're owned by two of the richest men in Hollywood. Like, I think it's an absolute piss take. So yeah,
Absolutely insane.
I would like some of that Welsh government money to come down to Newport, please. Why are they giving it to multi-millionaires? Crazy.
I'd like to see it, and I haven't looked into it, so it might be available anyway, but I'd like to see how they got that money. What do they have to submit to get that sort of grant?
Yeah.
And, what can we do? Is that something, we're exploring? Well, it sounds like we are exploring it anyway, but be interesting to see what the criteria was and how they met it. Because, yeah, you think, well, you've got super duper rich owners who could be just doing that for you, not using the taxpayers' money.
Yeah, exactly. Our owners are nowhere near as rich as what's it, Rob Mack and Ryan
Yeah.
Reynolds. I thought that was a bit of a piss take. I did personally, but yeah, very interesting. Right, moving on then. Oh, I should say that pod is out now if you want to listen to it. It's on YouTube. It's on all the platforms wherever you get your podcasts. So yeah, it's quite interesting, especially if you live in Newport. Right, transfer rumours time. These Tina Stabia rumours, they're not going away, are they? They keep rumbling on. So
they
this
seem
was
to be
in.
intensifying.
Yes. So this was from Neil Fissler's Rugby Pass column. He wrote, "The Dragons are digging in their heels and are refusing to let fly half Tina Stabia leave early to take up a contract offer from the Bulls. Johan Ackerman has earmarked Stabia as a potential replacement for former Springbok Johan Goosen, who retired before Christmas. But he says the Dragons want Stabia to stay in South Wales." Well, yeah, rightly so. He's under contract. Now, Gareth, you have an exclusive for us, don't you? You can give us an update on this.
Yeah, so I was at the Q&A and this was posed to Rhys Blumberg, who spoke very well. And he said, look, it's the nature of sport that our frontline players are always approached by other clubs. He did have a nice little dig at the media, saying they like to sort of kick up a fuss and try and make a story out of nothing. But he said, Tina Stabia is under contract for next season. He's not going anywhere. He will be a Dragon. Let's put that to bed. His words were, put that to bed. So
excellent.
Great news. Tina Stabia will be staying with us next season.
There we
Also
go then.
good news, really, that other clubs are interested in our players because it means we're doing something right. There's probably a lot more behind the scenes that we don't see. So, yeah, very good news.
And then in other rumours, the Dragons are closing in on the signing of Tongan wing, and I'm going to completely butcher this name. I don't know if you guys know how to pronounce it. Anzelo Tuivuki? I don't know how you pronounce it. I do apologise. How do you say it? Do any of you know how to pronounce it? Tuivuki?
I'd say Tuivuki, yeah.
Tutti Frutti. Right, okay. They've signed him from Colomers. Wales Online have been reporting. He's been playing his trade in the French Pro D2 over the past couple of seasons. He scored 13 tries for Colomer. The 27-year-old has previously played for Moana Pacifica in Super Rugby Pacific, and he's played for Hawke's Bay in New Zealand's NPC. He's also won 9 caps for Tonga, and Wales Online understands he's on the verge of signing for the Dragons. What else does the article say? This is quite interesting. While the off-field uncertainty has not helped any of Wales's 4 professional clubs with recruitment, the Dragons are not prepared to stand still. And Philo Tiati has been working hard behind the scenes to strengthen the squad. It is understood the Dragons are in the market for an international class back rower and outside half, among other positions. I know nothing about this guy, I'll be honest. I don't really keep in touch now with Super Rugby. Ever since the South African clubs left it, I don't think it's as good as it used to be. And I'm not an expert on Pro D2. Your mate Sam Larnagavin will probably know a bit about him because he watches a lot of Pro D2.
He does, yes. I haven't managed to pick his brains on this one. I will try and for the next pod. I will try and get the insight on him. Yeah, Colomier plays for, isn't it?
Colomier,
yeah. The video I see, kind of the highlights reel that you shared. That he looked the kind of player we could do with.
Yeah, I think if anyone like me wasn't aware of this player and you straight go on Google, you might find one clip of him scoring a try. And I was trawling through the internet trying to find something and then just found him on Instagram and he's got a great highlights reel on there. And we all know you take a highlights reel with a pinch of salt, it's not
a handful of salt.
Yeah, it's not the be all and end all, but he's, as you would expect, signing an outside Tongan back. He's got physicality to him. He does look like he's good in the air and can finish offload. We do need a bit more power on the wing, which showed on the weekend really. So looks like it could be a good signing.
And he'll be known to Philo and Dale, won't he? Because
yes,
Dale was at Hawke's Bay and at Moana as well.
And doing a little bit more snooping, looking on his old Instagram posts, because, I haven't got a life. Finney and Nisi sort of commenting on some of his old posts and things like that. So it seems like they're sort of buds. So that's always good if someone's recommended. Well, hopefully.
Yeah, and it helps him to settle in Wales as well, isn't it? If you got more people,
yeah.
More your mates over, it'll help him to settle in. Yeah, so keep an eye on that one. Yes, please be careful of highlights reel, boys, because we all thought Solomon Fodaki looked class in the highlights video, and Harry Wilson looked amazing, didn't he?
Who Solomon?
Pontypool legend Solomon Fodaki.
Oh yeah. Hey.
Oh dear me.
Yes, pinch of salt needed, but looks a decent player. So we'll see what happens there. In other news, Shea Hope has signed a new deal. That was announced at the Q&A, wasn't it, Garth? I believe.
Shea Goat. Wow, what a player.
Yeah. Pity you went on Saturday. Oh, that was gutting.
He's so good and he's so important. My cousin who was with me on the terrace was like, why didn't he just tell one of the other players to try and tackle that big fella? Why is he not going, I'm too important for this and getting hurt? You're like, that was gutting to see him go off that soon because he has been he's been red hot, hasn't he?
He has, and that happened right in front of me where I'm sat in a Bisley. The moment he went down, Shea shook his head. That was it. He was done. The moment I seen him, the physio come over and then the water come over and he was shaking his head. He was like, no.
Was it his hamstring?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it was. But he fell to the floor in a heap and it didn't look good. But for me, it's when he shook his head. That's what I thought, oh no.
On TV, it looked kind of ankly, but...
Nightmare. But great news that, one of the brightest prospects in Wales is deciding to stay at the Dragons. So, big boost.
Yeah, so his contract was due to expire in the summer, but he has committed to at least another 2 years with the club. Hope told the Dragons website, I love playing with the boys here. We're a tight group. We're really progressing as a team, and I've enjoyed the opportunities I've been getting over the past few months. So yeah, brilliant news. Shea Goat signs a new contract, and let's hope that injury isn't too serious. It was another busy week in the crazy world of Welsh rugby, wasn't it? So an EGM has been called now. by the Central Glamorgan Rugby Union. A date has not yet been set, but the WRU has up to 49 days to hold the EGM. The WRU, they're facing legal action all over the place, and so they're facing legal action from the Scarlets over the rescuing of Cardiff. Yeah, it's an open secret that Scarlets were very unhappy when the WRU stepped in to save Cardiff. So no surprise there. And then there's separate legal action from Swansea Council over the sale of Cardiff to Y11. God, lawyers are busy, minding they? Fair play. They'll be making a dime. On Thursday, Richard Collier-Keywood, Alison Fawn and Geraint John appeared before the Senedd Sport and Culture Committee. Gareth, you send the group chat. The Collier-Keywood did well. And most of what was said was good. So that's going to make you popular.
Straight under the bus.
I threw you right under there, boy. That's what you told us. That's what you said. These are just some of the takeaways. Now, I didn't see it because I had a dentist appointment on Thursday. And I'd much rather that than watch Collier-Keywood, to be honest, because he gets on my tits. I can't stand the guy. I just think he talks so much waffle. Right, so what were the takeaways then? Collier-Keywood said he'd been brought in to create change and not maintain the status quo. He believes that some of the motions that would be brought at the EGM would be a backward step. He said the WRU doesn't have enough money to fund 4 teams. He said, we have not yet reached a compromise with the URC for how we go to 3 clubs. So we have an obligation to maintain 4 clubs for the foreseeable future, but that doesn't take away from our decision. So they haven't even agreed with the URC yet. The 3 clubs, like how they're going to get to it. Ridiculous, really. He talked about the relationship that the regions have with the WRU. It's not great, is it? He said, we've struggled to bring the pro clubs along with us. Everyone seems to want to look backwards. History and heritage is incredibly important, he said, but my role has been to get everyone facing forwards. It's been incredibly difficult to do in the goldfish bowl that is Welsh rugby. Yes, and it's always been that way, Richard. What else did he say? He said the assumption was that Ospreys was going to be the club that was killed off. That is not the case in terms of what will necessarily happen as a result of Y11 owning 2 clubs. There is a totally separate process that the WRU are going through in terms of how we decide to award the licenses. And then he said, in order to put Cardiff up for sale, we had to make a commitment that we would award the capital license to Cardiff. So that was just confirmation. Cardiff are safe as houses. They're fine. Obviously, they're not going to change the name or the branding, the colours. The WRU have already said that. The only concern would be if you're a Cardiff fan is that you're going to be owned or potentially owned by very untrustworthy owners. Yeah. Rather you guys than me. We have not decided on the process on how we will award the East licence. If we go to a competitive process, Dragons will have a significant advantage. I mean, you'd expect us to have a significant advantage for the East licence, wouldn't you? Because we're the only Welsh team that actually owns our own ground. For a start, we got a good business plan. I think you're going to talk about it in a Q&A, but the finances are looking good, Gareth, I understand.
And quite importantly as well, we're in the East. So that helps.
Yes.
Yeah.
And own the ground in the East. And the only ground capable of hosting elite rugby in the East. So,
dear me.
But don't forget, Collier-Keywood said that anyone could apply for the East licence. So the Scarlets or the Ospreys could potentially apply for the East licence if they wanted to. He said that. I mean, they're just making it up as they go along. So, of course, Dragons will have a significant advantage because I think off the field, we're in a better state than any of the other regions right now. That's just the fact of the matter. We have an asset. We got a good business plan. We're in the black. And, off the field, it's looking good. So I do expect us to win that East licence if it does go out to tender. Do you have anything to say on it then, Gareth? Because you watched it, didn't you?
Yeah, and I think when I said he spoke well, I think he was comfortable. Let me be clear. I am not a fan of Richard Collier-Keywood.
Are you sure, Gareth?
I am 100% not a fan of him and his bully boy tactics. But I'll sort of leave that one there. But I think, he's an experienced man. The line of questioning didn't faze him. He went in prepared and he sort of stuck to his guns. There was one interesting quote that sort of sums up Welsh rugby to me that came out in the Senedd, that it's much easier to manage decline than it is to implement change. And for me, that's been Welsh rugby governance for like a decade.
Yeah.
The WRU could play it safe, keep 4 teams, keep funding stretched thin. and avoid making any sort of major changes. And people might be happy initially, but how long until the same questions surface again? So if we've now got a board that aren't sort of bowing to external pressure and wants to make changes that people have asked for, is that right? And the only reason people are kicking up a fuss, people have been asking for this change, but suddenly they're upset because they wanted change, just not in their backyard. See James Hook and others. So whilst I don't agree with everything how the WRU are acting, I do think, if you're looking without emotion, are they trying to do what's best for Welsh rugby? And is that what we need? And, there's a reoccurring narrative of there's no transparency, but I'm not sure what specifically people think is being hidden. So much has unfolded publicly, but, some decisions can't be played out step by step in front of the public. That's just responsible sort of governance. And I think, let's be clear, I think if there's any annoyance anywhere, the Ospreys, who are obviously the ones up in arms the most, understandably, it should be with Y11. They didn't sign PRA 25. They didn't challenge the notice that was given by the WRU when it was served. They've previously attempted to buy Cardiff and merge with other clubs, and now it does look like they're walking away. I just think the WRU, there's only so much they can say. They're keeping things quite open at the moment because the sale of Cardiff is still going through. But I think the beef should be with Y11, and I'm not sure if we want change, how else are the WRU meant to go about it? The only thing that does sort of concern me with the WRU is sort of their push for more control. I don't think that proposal around controlling rugby matters makes any sort of sense. It's ludicrous, to be honest. So I think there does need to be movement there. And even on the EGM, Collier Keywood says, it's a step back on some of these motions. That headline's pushed as if he's talking about everything in Welsh rugby. But really, one of the motions is around the governance and essentially electing more Blazer boys from amateur clubs to be involved. And that is a step backwards. He is right.
That bit is true. I still think they want 2 clubs, though.
Oh, I think long term, yeah. Because, we know that because they told us. That was the optimal solution. I'll never forget that phrase. It was the optimal solution. Maybe in 10, 15 years or whatever, maybe they will try and push to 2. They'll say 3's not working, Wales are still losing. So, maybe.
Look, I guess we're all speculating, but I think maybe the board signing off on the decision was happy with 3. But I think there are 2 people in Collier Keywood and Dave Redding that are still hoping for 2. But, it would be nice if those 2 were shifted on at some point, to be honest. And then we can all crack on.
Yeah, some of the motions in that EGM has a strong whiff of Blazer control, doesn't it?
Doesn't it? Yeah.
I'm not sure. Well, this is the problem. So I know Ospreys fans are pinning a lot on this EGM because they want to get rid of Collier Keywood. I get that. But here's the problem. Even if he is outed by the clubs, the WRU board could appoint someone new. That person comes in and goes, well, yeah, I support the plans to go to 3. There is no guarantee getting rid of Collier Keywood is going to save the Ospreys or Scarlets. There's no guarantee of that at all because the WRU would just bring someone in new and they'll just go along with those plans. So
and everyone else on that board voted to go to 3.
It was unanimously agreed. Yeah.
So someone coming in, you'd imagine they would be towing the same line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the WRU should get some credit as well for the refinancing of the loans. That doesn't seem to get much airtime. More favourable terms, so we're paying back less, and they've secured more money to invest back in rugby. So they are doing some good stuff, but that's not a very interesting headline, is it?
No.
But just to make it clear, before anyone lynches me walking down the street, I don't like Richard Collier Keywood. I would like to see him gone, just for the fun of it.
Okay, we believe you, thousands. That's absolutely fine. But
I've seen the tattoo, Gareth.
What? What's my tattoo?
Richard Collier Keywood.
Fuck him off.
Surrounded by hearts.
Oh dear. Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see what comes of this EGM. Some of the motions I don't like, I gotta be honest. And then look, he's been a lousy chair, I think. Richard Collier-Keyword. I don't like the guy. Like I said, talks waffle, but I'm not entirely convinced this is going to make much difference.
No,
So if you're an Ospreys fan, I wouldn't be putting all your hopes on this.
I wouldn't put any of your hopes on it personally.
No. But yeah, that's that then.
Well, they're not going to be saved on a recommendation, are they? There's no motions to save the Ospreys.
There's such a, I know you say about transparency, but what I don't like is you got Swansea Council saying the WRU informed them that basically they've got no future. But then you've also got Lance Bradley telling the Osprey Sporting Club, oh, Y11 could own two clubs long term, Cardiff and Ospreys. And you think, well, how long is long term? Is it 18 months? 5 years? And why are they allowed to own two clubs when World Rugby regulation has said that they can't own, private entity can't own two clubs in the same league? So it just doesn't make any sense to me. There's so many statements and it just doesn't make sense at all, does it? But yeah, I don't know what's going to come of it. I mean, Collier-Keyword was sort of implying that, Scarlets could be in trouble as well, because the narrative is that Ospreys are going to go. But I don't know. I wouldn't be too comfortable if I was a Scarlets fan right now, personally. But
no, I don't think any of us will be completely comfortable while Tim and Redden are there, because there is always that lingering doubt of two teams.
Yeah.
Well, unless you're a Cardiff fan.
Yeah. No matter what they say, they are safe. They're safe as houses. They're fine. Let's not beat them on the bush. Right. Okay. Let's move on then. So, Dragons Q&A. On Thursday, there was a supporters Q&A at Ronnie Parade with the coaches, Philo Tia and Dave McLeod, and the CEO, Rhys Blumberg. Now, I wasn't able to make it, unfortunately. Gavin obviously couldn't because of work and his location. You was there, Mr. Leclerc. Well, that rhymed there.
Yes, indeed.
You was there, Mr. Leclerc. So for those of us who couldn't attend, can you please tell us all about it? What were the big takeaways from the Q&A?
Yeah, it was a really good evening. Thank Blumberg, Philo, and Dale giving it their time. I'll start off with Rhys. I thought he spoke really well. Updated us on where we are with the WRU. We're still on PRA 25. That's locked in for 5 years. We're still negotiating with the WRU. Interestingly, he said, and his words, we're poking the bear. We're asking, what does the next 10 to 15 years look like in terms of funding? So that's really good. Someone did question about, is there a notice they can give us? He said, yep, they can give 3-year notice. That has not been given. And that's where he said, look, the WRU want us to be stable. Wales Online may have twisted that a bit and saying about the WRU need the Dragons, but it's that they need us to be in a stable position so, we can crack on as we are. Basically, the theme from Rhys was that we're really comfortable on the funding model we're on. We know our funding for the next 2 years. If we're given an agreement or a proposal put in front of us that looks better with more money and terms that we're happy with, then we're open to moving onto a new agreement. But at the moment, we're pretty happy in a unique position that we're locked in for the next 5 years anyway. So we're not in panic stations whatsoever, and we're pretty solid and stable. On being stable, we made a profit last year, a small profit, which is unheard of in pro rugby to finish in the black. So that is
in pro sport.
In pro sport, absolutely.
That's big. That's really big.
Brilliant. And if you think when Buttress first took actual ownership of the Dragons, we all suddenly wanted the team to be turned around, but they said we need to sort out the off-field first. Well, they've done that, and hats off to them, because getting a profit out of, well, like you said, pro sport is hats off to them. It's absolutely brilliant. Sounds like we could finish in the black again this season. The only thing that may take us slightly into the red was a few extra legal fees where we took advice prior to the meetings when it was first proposed to go to 2 teams, just to make sure we went in really strong and really prepared, which we did, and put our best foot forward. Hence, we're now at 3. So that's really good. Did press Rhys as well on what is happening with the proposal from the WRU, because we all know WRU proposed to sort of make all rugby appointments. He said he's got a meeting with the WRU in 2 weeks. It was actually meant to be last week, but they've got a lot on. And he said, I'm not trying to dodge, but in all honesty, I don't know what they'll propose this time. He said they could come at us with something very similar to PRA 25, which we'd love. They might come to us with something that wants full control of rugby, which we won't agree to. He said, I just don't know at the moment. He said, I'm honestly trying to be transparent, but I honestly don't know until I walk in that room what they'll come back with. So it's a bit of a wait and see there, but we're comfortable to walk in that room if we don't like the proposal to say no, which is really good. On the cabbage patch as well, which has been spoken about for years, and it was interesting on that Exiles pod you did, Jamie. So we're pressing forward with surveys on the cabbage patch in the next couple of months. So that's things like, asbestos drainage and things like that for what they can do on the land. They want to work with the council to commercialise the space. They're also open to grants as well, but it will be private and council money. And they're looking for a full 4G pitch with a 2,000-seater stand, paddle courts as well, which would be good because they can just be used, all through the week, and a clubhouse, which would be really nice in between essentially the two grounds then. So that'd be really good news. I think getting that space working for us and making us money is going to be vital for the Dragons in the long-term success. So nice to hear that we're pressing forward with surveys, but still a long way to go there.
Mm-hmm.
We're due to announce more signings over the next few months. They mentioned probably 4, maybe 5 signings, which I think shows that we're in a better position. Over the last few years, we've had a big squad turnover each summer, but it's nice now. Let's get a bit more stable and let's just add quality to our side. I think that puts us in a much, much better position. And we're looking at about 7 re-signings as well, with Shea Hope obviously announced on Thursday, which was good. The budget's going up to 6 mil from 5.3, so an increase of 700k. One interesting thing as well came out of it. So somebody asked about losing players to the English school system, being offered scholarships and things like that, and Wales just can't compete. And we said, well, actually, what's really helpful now is the investment that's happened at Monmouth School, where they've invested millions into a sports centre. They're headed up by Richie Reese, and he said the Dragons are actually giving scholarships for people to go there, which is really good that we've got something we can compete with England for. Doesn't mean we're going to keep everyone. Everyone's got their reasons why they choose to go somewhere different, and that's fine. But it's a step in the right direction, and it's good that we've got that offering. So that's only going to benefit us in the long run as well. Before I move on to the coaches part, then I'm rambling on there. Anything to pick up on that?
So when I did that pod with the 1912 XLs, one of the questions Ed asked the council leaders about County potentially moving away from Ronnie Parade should they get relegated. Now, Dimitri said he hasn't had any conversations around that. Was Newport County brought up at all in the meeting?
It was, yeah. So Reece said they're speaking with County. Essentially, they are locked into a legal sort of agreement with us and how much they pay. But he didn't say this, but reading between the lines, look, we're not going to try and cripple County because of an agreement. So it's definitely going to be a collaboration working together. We want County there. County want to be there. We want to make that work. But there's no specifics on what's going to happen. And let's hope they stay up, albeit it looks a tough task at the minute.
But they're not cut adrift just yet, though, are they? Like, they are still keeping in touch. I think are they 3 points behind? 2 or 3?
Yeah, they're 3 points behind.
Very close.
Yeah. So, okay, good. You can press on now with the coaches if you want.
Yeah, coaches, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Loved it. And I think it's worth saying when Philo was appointed, there were groans in that room. He was announced at the Q&A last year. And I was one of those sort of groaning. And we were told at the time it was like a culture appointment and a standards appointment. Well, do you know what? I'm fully behind that now, from not just seeing our performances, but listening to the coaches. The owners got it right. And I was really, really impressed with them. Philo came across really well. Him and Dale have got a really, really good relationship together. And Dale seems like a bit of a character. He talked about the defence, although he's senior coach. So he said he has his hand in sort of everywhere. And he articulated this far better than I ever will. But he started talking about like how we've improved the defense. And he said on a Monday, people get their tackle stats and there's above or below the line of what is acceptable in the level of performance, so tackle numbers, missed tackles. And he said everyone's been getting that. And he said that's evolved now. So players want to know, are they making dominant hits? Are they chasing their feet? So he said we're constantly layering it bit by bit, giving players more and more to chase after in the game. And it's just driving their performance, which is really good. And he said then you have got players like Beds coming in and making 30 tackles in the game. Which is great. And he sort of loved that. And Tinas, he said on a Monday doing a review, and Tinas has made more tackles than some of the forwards. So he's digging out the forwards and giving them a bit, all in a sort of good jest. But that was great. And Dale said at the end, he was like, look, rugby's about whacking people.
I love that. Whacking people. That's the technical term.
Yeah, whacking people. And he was like, and when we're whacking people at Rodney Parade, we're in the game. So that was good.
He's right.
He was spot on. And he sort of addressed, without being prompted, around like how many mistakes we used to make as a team. And he said, players are going out, putting in so much effort. But he said they weren't being clear. And he said, now players are concentrating on their role. They know what is an acceptable level of performance. They need what they need to go on, do on that pitch. How many tackles they need to make, how many rucks they need to hit. They're concentrating on that. And the scoreboard and everything just looks after itself then. So it's really good. He said there's confidence growing in the team, but he said, there's still a long way for us to go. But everything he said was really positive, and just the culture around the culture that they're creating there is really good. I had the chance to chat with Dale after this Q&A, sort of one-to-one, and he was sort of saying like players previously might have turned up to the Dragons and essentially you could coast, which I've heard from previous. I could believe that. Yeah, heard from previous Dragons coaches that is certainly true. That players were not putting in the sort of the graft needed. Yeah, okay, you try your best on the pitch, but he said it's not just training hard, but it's why are you training? What are you being clear on exactly what you're trying to achieve that day? What do good reviews look like? He said we've got players in their 20s who have come through age grade playing great rugby and are told to just keep doing the same thing. Who's taught them how you should review a game? Who's taught them what great nutrition looks like? He said so they're now learning that when they're 20. He said so what him and Fila want to do is they want to be implementing that to the 15-year-olds across the region, so that when they turn 18, they know how to review a game. They know what good nutrition looks like. So that step up to being a pro rugby player isn't so steep. So it's great. I just think our standards of a team have risen up at Ustrad, and it's shown on the pitch. So it's really good. They talked a lot about Angus as well. Dale touting him for the Welsh squad, saying how emotional he is as a leader, and that they've actually, had to sort of rein that in and be like, look, you just got to move on to the next moment now if something goes wrong. And Dale was excited about a few of our youngsters as well, no more so than Harry Rees-Weldon, who he has some positive things to say about if we can just get him fitting on the park for the end of the season. But it was really good. I'll never do the coaches justice for how they came across, but it was brilliant to see Philo open up a bit, give a bit of his personality. And I think everyone left that room thinking, God, I'd play for these two guys, which I think is really shown on the pitch. Really, really good evening. So really thankful that they give it the time.
That's good. That all sounds very positive. Now, we spoke about this on Saturday, but the one thing that did annoy me a bit, you talked about the Dragons are raising standards, changing the culture. What the hell have they been doing for the past 5-6 years then? Why has this only happened now? Do you know what I mean? It's really annoying that, okay, it's good that they recognize there's a culture and they're changing it, but then you think, well, so much time has been wasted now. Players turning up and coasting. Well, why? Why were they coasting? What were the coaches doing about it? Why weren't standards raised before? What the hell were they doing for the past, God knows how many years? So that's what's annoyed me. But I'm glad it's been recognised and they are changing the culture because it needs to. I think Dragons have had a culture problem for many years.
You know what? You're right. And we produce so many good players at age grade and we wonder why they aren't stepping up. And I was speaking to Greg after the game, friend of the pod, and he said to me, if we're having to coach 20-year-olds how to be professional athletes, we've already failed them. And he's right. There's probably players who have come through our system that we have sort of failed because we haven't had the education around how to be a pro athlete. Like, you only know what you know. Like, I'm sure they've always worked hard, but if you don't know what I used to say tonight, what does good look like within that squad?
Yeah.
And Dale said, we've got a lot of senior boys injured. He said, but when they come back, he said, they're not here for, they're not here for a ride. They need to be adding value to the group, or they'll know about it. Dale, he had a great bit of banter about him, but I wouldn't want to be on the wrong side of him either. So, yeah,
I think that's good.
Yeah,
I think
that's really good. Exactly what you wanted to hear. And yeah, there is a frustration of what have we been fucking doing before, but
yeah,
we've got to draw a line under that now and positive move forward.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I just find it frustrating. That's all. And I do believe Dale when he said players were coasting. You saw it on the field, and that's just really annoying. And nobody, sought to change that up until now. I just find that very frustrating because we are season ticket holders. We spend our money every year, and then people, there's no doubt over the years, people are just turning up with the Dragons, just collect their paycheck. They think, oh, well, it's only the Dragons, so I don't have to perform that well. Standards are low. We have been that club, I'm sorry to say, but we have. But it does sound like things are changing now, and I'm so glad because they got to change the culture. It's what Toby Booth used to say a lot at the Ospreys. Culture is so important. And it's good. Absolutely, yeah. Anything else, Gavin? Do you want to add to what Gareth has said? Any questions or anything?
I think my musings on it than a question. It's good to hear about the signings, but we heard about signings last season as well. They just need to follow through now, don't they? And come through with the right people.
Yeah, I think as well, when they say 4 or 5, and if you do think, okay, it's a wing, a 10, an 8, and another, I'm not sure do we need a couple more than that? I do think we were slightly, I know we drew the game on Saturday night, but I felt like we were slightly exposed at times.
Yeah.
And there'll be players who aren't due next season, aren't they? Kai Evans, are we going to renew his contract? I'd be surprised.
Yeah, true. And obviously, the big one, losing Wayno, that came up as well. Obviously, they threw everything at Wayno, but it wasn't a money decision for him to leave. It's just, like, we've touched on that before, but yeah, that did come up. Yeah. But yeah, is it enough 4 or 5 signings? I'm not sure, but as long as they're quality, I guess.
But we've got to be very careful about the players that we keep on the books. And we were ruthless last season. That was good. It needed to happen.
Yeah, we need to be equally ruthless this season.
There were players who had played for a club for a long time, and we appreciated that. They were stalwarts of the club, but they had to go.
Yeah.
Your Joe Davises, your Ashton, Joe Davises, your Ashton Hewitts and stuff. No disrespect to those players. Like I said, they were really good service to the Dragons, but the standards have to go up. And we need to keep players who are fit and available and given everything. For example, has anyone seen Rhodri Jones lately? What the hell has happened to Rhodri Jones? Like, was there any point in giving him a new deal? He hasn't played a single competitive game for the Dragons this season, and he only played 6 games last season. But we re-signed him for a year. So it's decisions like that. Do you know what I mean? That's why I start to question things then. We've got to be a bit more smart and a bit more ruthless about who we keep on the books. And I like Rhodri Jones a lot, but we haven't seen him this season. It's not his fault. It's just
all last season, really.
Well, 6 appearances he made last season. He's a very experienced campaigner. I like Rhodri, but like I said, we can't afford to have guys now just constantly.
No passengers.
Yeah, exactly right.
They did mention as well with our youngsters, so many of them breaking through this season playing well, but he said they'll really benefit next season when at the moment they're training, playing. Next, they can have a break, reflect, and he said next season they should be able to go up another level again, which would be that's good to hear as well. There's probably a lot of faith in our youngsters at the moment, through necessity probably.
Well, we'll talk about that in a bit, but the youngsters certainly did step up on Saturday, didn't they? Yeah. And there's some very promising young talent in our Dragon squad. So, Okay, should we move on from the Q&A? Nothing else? Thank you for that, Gav. That's much appreciated, our update. Right, let's talk about what happened on Saturday. Saturday night at Rodney's. Dragons 15, Benetton 15. Another draw for the men of Gwent. But the Dragons came within inches of a victory at Ronnie Parade. It was a terrible start for the Dragons, conceding a try within a minute, and then they lost Shane Lewis-Hughes and Shea Hope in the opening 10 minutes. Added to that, then Tina Stabia going off at half time. Yeah, it was 15-7 down, and with only 13 men on the field at one point, it looked like being one of those nights. Nothing was working, handling errors, discipline, things were going against us. But fair play, the Dragons dug deep, and Anisi scored in the 80th minute, but unfortunately Angus did miss what was a very difficult conversion in fairness. So I'm not going to put any blame on that. There is one kick I am going to put blame on for, though, and I'll talk about that in a bit. So Angus missed a difficult conversion to snatch an unlikely win in front of a crowd of 7,106. Great crowd that, isn't it? For a Dragons game of Ronnie's. Fair play. Well done to everyone who turned up. And it just goes to show that people are buying into this team. I think they are resonating with this team and they're buying into it, so that's great. So that's Dragons' third draw in the URC this season. And you could argue all of them, maybe, well, they should have been wins, I guess. But there we are. It's better than losing, I suppose, isn't it? Who wants to start with this one? Tell you what, Gavin, you start us off. What was your assessment of that game on Saturday? Are you happy with the draw? Do you feel that's one that got away?
No, I think we got away with it, to be honest.
Yeah, that's my thinking as well.
And it was a draw built on defence rather than attack, because I think the attack misfired a little bit. We got up the field well, but every time we go into the 22, it all went a bit pear-shaped, and and there was decision making that went awry. That we just didn't take the opportunities, or we had a number of penalties, and the liner fell apart when Ollie came on, and that's not his fault. That'll have been the calls as well, but it all just fell apart a bit. And Benetton had plenty of ball, but our defence kept us in there. There was a couple of times, they'd have 5 or 6 phases, and we just stayed resolute, and then would get in the turnover or whatever. It was just Nyram particularly just shone for me.
He's outstanding.
He was at every single breakdown and just really causing a problem. And it was just much better rugby than we've seen. And in terms of because let's be honest, we weren't really in the game for large chunks of it, particularly when we were down to 13 men. But what we did do was not concede lots. And I know lots of people have been saying, "Oh, well, we had to try Rob." No, we didn't.
Are you referring to Beddle's?
Yeah,
obstruction, wasn't it? I watched it back today. Yeah, I could see why. To be honest, I think some TMOs chip in, others don't. You probably get away with that on another day, but it's one of those things, isn't it?
It was so blatant because he's just coming at and it was his body position more than anything else. There's no way you could get the ball because he's kind of blocking that channel. Yeah, it is what it is. And it's not like a deliberate thing. It just happens. I'm not convinced that should be a penalty, personally. I think it should be a free kick or scrummage. But, I'm not responsible for the laws of rugby. But
Oh. And what about the cards then? So we were down to 30 men at one point. So Levi's yellow card, that was upgraded to red for a croc roll. Was that the right decision for you, Gav, when you look at it?
not for me, but I also understand why they did it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Would I have done it? No, I thought it was a yellow personally. But do I understand why it was a red? Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, because look, I got no issue with Levi getting that red card. And the frustrating thing is he was playing really well up until then.
Oh, yeah,
he was fantastic.
He was having a bloody good game. And, he's one of my favourite Dragon players. I love him. But then when that happened, I was like, oh, no. And I did have a feeling he was going to get upgraded to red, I must admit. But, okay, he didn't fully commit to the croc roll.
No.
But the Benetton player did land on a lower limb. And World Rugby are shit hot now on these lower limb croc rolls. They are so dangerous. They're right to stamp it out because it's very, very dangerous.
It was clumsy rather than anything else. But,
that's what I thought.
You've got responsibility for player welfare in that, so clumsiness isn't going to wash. The Anisi one,
I thought that was harsh. I did.
Yeah, that was just a penalty for me because he didn't really hit him. He's just a bit upright.
Yeah.
But then, they'd given the yellow for Fekatoa being high, so,
Well, I thought it was for deliberate
It was a
knock-on,
knock-on,
wasn't
wasn't
it?
it?
It was a deliberate knock-on, yeah.
Yeah.
The Fekatoa, I thought, right, yeah.
No,
Sorry.
Fekatoa's was, but I was talking about the Nisi's yellow card. So he
Yeah.
got yellow card for the deliberate knock-on. Now, I thought it was a genuine attempt to get the ball, so I thought that was a little bit harsh, that one. But the
Yeah,
problem
but
is,
if it's deliberate knock-on, they always give a yellow.
Yeah.
I
Fekatoa told the crowd to fuck off.
it's how we said, because I watched it back today. He waved his hand, didn't he, to the crowd, and that was
Well, it might not have
Buccius
been
of the
fucked,
terrace.
but what
Yeah, I
else are
don't
you
think
going
he
to
said
say
that.
to a bunch of people having a go at you? I don't
I love
blame him,
that.
but it's quite funny.
Oh, it's great. I love that, playing a pantomime film, and the crowd rise to that then.
Well, it was
I think
him
it's
who was
great.
due, wasn't it? Him who was, oh no, was he going to get a card at another point? And we thought he's going to have to come up here. And that was when that try got overturned because they had a yellow
No.
leg.
It wasn't him.
It wasn't him, was
No,
it?
it was
No.
it was a
Oh
second
no, it would
row
have been a
replacement.
forward, wouldn't it? Yeah,
it was a second row replacement, number 19.
Because
Yeah,
I
it
was
got
hoping to give him
overturned.
some more stick, but he never really come near us.
No, but yeah, there's a few people after the game saying, "Well, the ref was shit," but I watched it back, and okay, there
Well,
were moments where being at the game, yes, Benetton were living offside a couple of times, but other than
he
that, I thought he was okay. The ref
he
didn't have
wasn't
an issue.
really policing offside particularly well.
No, he
That
was not.
for either side. Uh, so yeah, but we've had considerably worse referees this season, I would suggest.
Oh yeah, he wasn't great, Johan Cross, but he wasn't the worst ref we've had at Rodney Parade. Um, okay, Gareth, your thoughts on that?
Oh, I'm gutted and relieved. It is a weird one, isn't it? Do you know what though? Like the amount of senior boys we're missing
Yeah,
from that team, and then we lose Shane Lewis-Hughes, then we lose Shea Hope, we lose Tinas at half time,
yeah.
and the heart in that Dragons team, unbelievable. Gav, you mentioned the defense, like absolutely love watching us defend at the minute. We are, as Dale would say, whacking people. And there was a period, probably the first 5-10 minutes, I guess, oh, are we slightly off it here, aggression wise? I thought we were getting slightly dominated in the physical contest by Benetton. I was a bit worried, but then we sort of rallied. Levi really stepped up and was demanding the ball and being aggressive. I thought we really took it to him. Poor Minto comes on after 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And I thought first half, let's say things didn't quite go his way. There was a few errors, but do you know what? Second half, I thought he come out and was absolutely fantastic.
And wide defence was poor, though, wasn't it, all game? Like Di Richards got found one in a couple of times, and like that second try, that was poorly defended.
Yeah, and Di Richards, he's brilliant going forward. I really like him going forward, but he's not physical enough defending and not particularly strong in the high ball, which shows we do need to strengthen on the wing. I thought Rio, when he had the ball, ran with loads of purpose, was really, really aggressive. But he only had the ball when they flipping kick it to him. Again, our attack, we do not play enough rugby. And I know people have said Rodri had one of his better games. What I was really frustrated with is it was much like last season where we just constantly played to the open side. And there was a few times we played open and our forwards had reloaded on the blind and there was a big channel to attack and we had numbers. And Shea Hope's been picking that option and he's been identifying the space, but Rodri was just a bit head down and playing open all the time, which frustrated me. Although I thought his kicking game was quite good. Angus, I thought was brilliant because I think whilst Benetton at times were the better team and we were a man down, Angus kept us in the right areas of the field. His boot is just enormous. It's just a couple of small things in it. The scrum constantly put us under pressure. And you do
welcome back, Super Chrissy Coleman.
You do struggle to win a game without a scrum, don't you? And we were getting mullered at the scrum, and second half the line-out went to pot. And there's a lot of moving parts to a line-out. I used to jump in the line-out. There's a lot to it, and that pack on at the end were very, very inexperienced. And I thought they stood up really well physically and getting around the park. but the set piece is a different matter. We did struggle there. Thought Harry Bedell was brilliant again, and what I liked was he's got real nice bit of footwork before contact as well. So he's not the biggest guy, but watching him closely, I was like, oh, do you know what? This guy's really something special.
What he does, I think, really nicely, like you say, he just creates himself just a foot or space of extra space to just, because like you say, he's not big bloke, but it just gives him that extra, couple of yards to get over the game line. It's he's a very impressive player to watch.
Yeah, really, really like him. So.
And Woodman, like you couldn't really see what Woodman was doing yesterday because he was just in the middle of everything, wasn't he?
Brilliant again, wasn't he? Very much. Yeah. And he deserves this Wales call-up. Even if you don't get any minutes, he deserves it. Been brilliant.
He's a leader now for us, isn't he? He's just turned 22. And he's a leader. And you think if we had missed all those senior players, is it just turned 22? Is that right? Or 23?
He's 22.
22, just turned 22. You think if we were missing that many senior players last season, we'd have got absolutely mullered.
Yeah.
But our youngsters are driving this team. Like Gav, you mentioned an Iwan, absolutely fantastic. And Nisi, like, he's just ride a tackle. He can offload it. He just does what he wants to me. He's just class. I love watching him. He just looks so chilled around the field. Really good to watch. It's frustrating we didn't get it over the line. The atmosphere in the last 10 minutes was phenomenal, though.
Even on TV, it was, feral.
It was. At one point, we had a line out in their 22, and the terrace was going ballistic. And and the line out had been going to shit. And I just thought, we might need to shut the fuck up here and let them concentrate.
Well, the atmosphere was terrific again. Rodney Parade is just a brilliant place to be at the minute watching the Dragons. And I haven't felt this way for a long time. But there's a real positive buzz around the place now. And it's so good. It really is. Yeah.
It's
even the Bisley is getting lively now. The Bisley stand is actually getting lively.
But we're responding to what's happening on the field.
Too many Kit Kats.
They keep a special box, don't they, for you, Jamie, of Kit Kats?
They do. Yeah. I'm going to complain to the Dragons, so I want Kit Kat Chunkies on offer now, because I do like the 4-finger Kit Kats, don't get me wrong, but I do prefer Kit Kat Chunky.
Did they not put one on a little velvet cushion on your seats on the Bisley? Or
they should. They really should do. That's my idea of hospitality.
You're right, though. Rodney Parade, what a place to be. There is honestly nowhere else I'd rather be.
No. So
as long as my wife's not listening.
Fair enough. It's weird. Well, I shouldn't say weird. It's fascinating listening to other people after the game. So we went back to the pub and chatted to fans afterwards, didn't we? Everyone was like, "Oh, we should have won that. That's disappointing. We really should have won that." And they were quite disappointed. Whereas I left our ground feeling positive because I think we should have lost it.
Yeah,
I actually think we got away with one. When you think about everything that happened to us, right? The injuries, the cards, the discipline, no set piece, line out goes to shit, scrum was creaking. Let's not forget, Jacob Umanga missed 6 points off the tee. Yeah. He had a shocker off the tee. Now, if he scores those conversions, yeah, he did, but his goal kicking was really poor. Now, if he scores those points, Dragons ain't coming back from that.
No.
So to come away from Rodney Parade, and I'm thinking, I can't believe we didn't lose that. I felt relieved. I felt really proud of the fight that we showed and the grit. And what we're seeing a lot is what Philo has spoken about quite a bit this season. He's spoken about staying in the fight.
Yeah.
That's something he has consistently spoken about all season. Learning to stay in the fight, fighting fatigue, the grit. And we're seeing that now. And that's what really pleased me. But I was more positive after the game than most. Like, some people were really disappointed, like, oh, we should have won. But I'm thinking, all things considered, when you weigh everything up, I thought we did well to come away with a draw. And if I was a Benetton fan, right, if I come away from the ground as a Benetton fan, I'm thinking, how the hell did we win that? Because we were on the back foot for a lot of that game.
They'll win the URC next season, though, because, they've got Wayne Pivac coming in, so...
Yeah, they've announced today Wayne Pivac's going to be Benetton coach. That's an interesting appointment. But there was a lot of talk, wasn't there, about Benetton not having their Italian internationals, and yeah, they were hit hard, obviously, because they got a lot of players in
They're
the
still a good
Italy
side.
setup. Well, that's what I was going to say. So they did have 4 players released back from the Italian camp, and that was still a very good Benetton team,
And they've
right?
got more than double the budget we do.
Exactly that. But you looked at the back line that they put out against us, right? Gallagher, Ratatouille. Odogwu,
Rat
Ratatouille.
Ratatave.
Ratatouille. Odogwu, Fekatoa, Smith, Umanga, Ewan. That is a really good backline.
Well,
That's a very good backline.
Malachi Fekatoa and Paulo Dogu centre partnership, that's as good as most in the league.
They put out a pretty decent side, Benetton. And, you look at us, right? The Dragons. That wasn't a full strength team by any means. People say, oh, yeah, but, they've only got 2 Wales players, missing from it. So the point, we've gone to a situation now where we got injuries creeping up again. Like we've had a break, and yet we've come back from the break with more players injured. I don't know how this happens to the Dragons, but that's what's happened here. And yes, we got loads of injuries right now, but the good news is that the kids are stepping up. So you look at that Dragons back row for the majority of the game. That was very young, right? Ryan Woodman, 22. Harry Beddle, 21. Evan Minto, 20. And then you look at the replacement props. Jordan Morris, 22. Owain James, 20. There was a lot of youth in our Dragons team. Now, in an ideal world, you don't want to be playing inexperienced props. You want your experienced guys, don't you? But fair play, they did all right. The kids did all right.
We've got what we've got, haven't we? So
exactly. And Minto did have a difficult first half when he came up, but the second half for Minto was brilliant. That line break. Did you see that line break he made?
Yeah. Off a kick-off as well, wasn't it?
Oh, I loved it. I thought that was fantastic. He's a player with a lot of potential, isn't he?
Yeah.
I really like Minto, but like I said, it wasn't easy for him to come on. What was it, 4 minutes, Gareth, you said?
Yeah, 4 minutes in.
He came on. Yeah, okay, struggled at first, but really grew into the game. So, we had a lot of kids in our team, and I'm just pleased with the fighting spirit. We're actually showing a bit of grit, which is what I always wanted from the Dragons. I never wanted a moon on a stick. Do you know what I mean? I just wanted a competitive Dragons team that scrapped for everything to show grit and not to let their heads drop when things go against them. I think they're still learning that, though. I do think there is some learning to be done because it has happened a couple of times this season, but it's happening less than previous seasons. When the game goes against us now and momentum is lost, we got to find a way to bring it back. And we've done that. This time last year, we lose that game. When the injuries when the injuries pile up like that and the set piece goes to shit, Dragons' heads drop. We've seen it so many times. That never happened on Saturday. And that was the most pleasing thing for me, is that we had a young team and we showed so much fight and grit. We stayed in it. And I think this is why this team is resonating now with a lot of people. And I do like this team now. I've had a love-hate relationship with the Dragons, previous Dragons teams over the years, but I'm really starting to like this team now. They're still not winning enough games, not as many as I'd like, but they're competitive now. And I don't think they're a free hit anymore, unless we make 9 or 10 changes. And then, we know what happens because we see that in Glasgow and Benetton. But, other notes for me then. Ratave, he's a wrecking ball, isn't he? He is an absolute wrecking ball, old Ratatouille. Poor Dai Richards came out second best again, didn't he? Bless him.
Yeah.
They just can't cope with him, can they? Dragons. They couldn't cope with him out in Treviso. We played him in the Challenge Cup, and they couldn't cope with him in Newport in the URC. He is a big guy as well, Gav. He's a very big guy.
He was on your side the first half, wasn't he?
Yes,
Jamie. And we were like, this guy's flipping tearing us apart. Second half, come and stood near us. I was like, Jesus Christ.
He's a monster.
Absolutely massive. And he can shift. You're like, Rio died to get a good hit on him, which was nice.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I love that. So he does flatten
right in front
Rio.
Of us.
He flattens Rio, but what I like about it, Rio got back up and he pulled him down.
Yeah, because he went straight in with his elbow. That was right in front of us as well. And he does try and elbow Rio. It was quite an aggressive, confident. I think that's why Rio sort of gets up and sort of dump tackles him a bit. It was
I love that.
Nice little battle that was, because Rio definitely punches above his weight, doesn't he? When he's on form like he has been, he carries hard. I really liked watching Rio yesterday. I just wish we'd give him more of the ball.
But how many times have we said on this pod?
Yeah.
And we've said it so many times. Give Rio the ball and he'll do stuff. Yeah, I thought Rio was brilliant. And then, like I said, I loved him bringing down Ratave like that. But yeah, it was a tough. I thought Dai Richards was all right, but he just can't cope with Ratave. So if they play Benetton again next season, if Dai is still with us, then maybe pick someone else on the wing who can tackle him because he gives him the run around. Bless him.
He was in the wrong place defensively as well. It wasn't just
Yeah.
about tackling. He just wasn't in the right place, so he's making it harder for himself anyway.
Good
Yeah,
old Tina's brought him down. Classic. Like, what's Tina's up to?
Tina's just tiny, and he'll just bring down
smacking
anyone.
people left, right, and centre and trying to cause scuffles.
Yeah. A few players put in a good shift, I thought. Seb Davis, you said after the game, he was very impressed with him.
I forgot to mention him. Yeah, I thought he had his best game in a Dragon shirt, actually.
Yeah. Yellow card aside, Finanisi was very good. Like I said, I think that was harsh, that card, personally. But I love that centre partnership, and now you're in. And then you see Real Dyer, fantastic. We've already mentioned. My Dragons player of the match, because I was asking a lot of people this after the game, like, who do you think was Dragons player of the match? Mine is an Iron Owen. I thought he was outstanding.
As well.
He was so good. 3 turnovers he won. He was really, really good. He was everywhere at the breakdown, and he was fantastic. He's another player I think is in the form of his life right now, an Iron Owen. Superb. We had a disagreement after the game on Rodri Williams, me and Gareth. So, well, I won't say what Gareth said, but it wasn't that kind. But I thought, and don't get me wrong, I didn't think it was a brilliant performance by any means. I still don't think Rodri is the player he was from a couple of years ago. I thought that was a decent performance, I have to say. Because when he came on, I'm thinking, oh, here we go. Yes, it was still a bit slow, wasn't it? The service of ball. His kick-in was good on the whole. I thought he was all right, Rodri, and I've been very critical of him on this pod because I know he's a good player and he's better than the form he's been showing. But I thought he did all right. What did you think, Gavin?
I thought that was his best game this season.
Agreed.
Because, I don't think he's been great, but he wasn't at fault for anything that went wrong on Saturday, which we can't always say this season. And he made the right decisions most of the time. Yeah, I don't, because I saw like Gareth in the group chat, and I was like, no, I don't think that's the case, mate, this game.
It's okay to disagree, yeah. It was all fine. We all have our opinions. But I thought, like I said, I'm not saying Rodri's back to his best by any means, but I thought that was a very decent performance from a player who's really struggling for form. So was he going to say something then, Gareth? Or?
Yeah, there was parts of his game I thought were better, but I still think he could have varied it a bit more. And there was a couple of times first half as well, we'd knocked the ball on from his passes where forwards were hitting it at the line. He's throwing it at their fucking shoulder, and they're taking it
one or two passes. Yeah, I saw.
And you're a bit like, mate, you want it low. You're hitting the line, but I think he did tidy that up a bit as the game went on. I just think the way our younger players are really driving this team at the moment, I would like to see someone like Morgan Lloyd having a go, but
I would as well.
I guess Rodri has probably got the leadership that we probably need, especially when you looked at our bench. He was the only bit of experience on it, really. So
it was an experience, and there was a couple of players that made you think, oh, it did look a bit weak, didn't it? But I thought all the kids did brilliant. That was my next point. Shout out to the youngsters. Mentioned them earlier, but like I said, Evan Minto, I thought was excellent second half. And look, Owain James did okay at scrum time. He did all right. We have to remember, he's only 20 years old, this kid. He's a tight head prop, young as and he's prop. 20. So there are going to be tough moments for him. But I thought he did all right. And I thought Jordan Morris did all right as well.
Yeah. I like Jordan Morris. He just looks aggro.
He's a big guy as well, Gav. Yeah. He's another big guy.
He had some praise at the Q&A from the coaches saying what a specimen he is. And they're working on the dark arts with him now to, bring him right up to pro level. But yeah, he can go as far as he wants, I think was the wording for him.
His scrummaging's not terrible. It's not great at the minute. But, but
they're kids, Gav, aren't they? You get better with age with props.
Oh, yeah. And, technically, you can teach him all of those skills. You can't teach him to be 6'4" and 18 stone or whatever it is,
No. No, yeah, fair play. All the youngsters, they did well. They stepped up. Like I said, I think that's been the
Yeah.
difference this season. Our youngsters are stepping up, whereas previous seasons, yeah, we have one or two, but then some of the youngsters that came into the team, they fall by the wayside, wouldn't they? So yeah, really pleased with the youngsters at the club. Some stats for you then. So Dragons had 59% possession and 67% territory, 335 meters made, 6 clean breaks, and 26 defenders beaten. Scrum win percentage 100%.
Apart from all the penalties.
Yes. I checked Rugby Pass and URC website, and it said Dragons win percentage for the scrum is 100%. Line out win percentage, what do you think it was? Have a guess.
50.
No, it's a bit higher than that. Gareth, what are you saying? Line out
Yeah, like
percentage?
60, but I think how are they classing it as a one ball? Is it if you just somehow scramble it back, I guess. It's
So
looks a
line
bit
out
ropey.
a bit ropey. I said that the statement, it was a disaster, wasn't it? And I'm not going to blame it, put it all on Ollie Burrows, by the way.
Oh, not at all.
There are more
It,
moving parts
yeah,
to a
it wasn't
lineup.
Ollie Burrows. He wasn't hitting the jumpers, but the jumpers weren't going up. So you
Yeah.
can't hit people who don't go up in the
The
air.
one time he threw the ball in and only only they went up and obviously they took the ball. But it was after I think we had a couple done for not straight. And I was like, fucking hell, why didn't we go up? And my brother said, well, can't get done for not straight if you don't go up.
That's right. No, it's true. If you don't
But
challenge.
it was our ball.
Well, yeah, it's true. You can get away with it if
Oh, dear
you don't
me.
challenge if it's not straight. Yeah.
But only if the opposition don't go up. You know, we didn't go up. I know
Yeah, it was-
exactly that one because I was watching it going, oh my God, that's like something from my level of rugby.
We were laughing, to be fair, but also it was painful. You're like, what's that is bad communication, isn't it, really? That's just, we're so emotional as well. We need to just take a beat. Be like, right, are we really clear on what we're doing there? Lacked a little bit of
But
leadership.
it was really disappointing though, because our line out has been very good for us. Even in bad times, our line out over the past few years has been pretty good for us, but it just went to shit on Saturday. It was really disappointing. I don't know what the hell happened, but yeah, I'm not putting it all on Ollie. And he did make a very vital turnover, Ollie Burrows, in the second half.
Oh, he's a good player, isn't he, Ollie?
I love him. I think he's great.
Like
Yeah.
Ollie,
So it was just really disappointing to see our normally a strong area of our game just fall to shit. It was weird. Yeah. So 71% was the line-out win percentage. We lost 4 line-outs. So that's
Felt a lot more than that.
well, that's what the stats are saying. It did feel like more than that, to be honest. But yeah, Ryan Woodman was Dragons' top tackler with 13. I thought it'd be higher than that. I don't know how accurate these rugby pass numbers are. Some of them I think sounds plausible, and others I think surely it's got to be more than that. Harry Bedell and then I know we made 11 tackles. Again, is that correct? I thought Harry Bedell would have made way more than that. Rio Dyer was Dragons' top carrier with 13. Mentioned earlier, and I know we made 3 turnovers, and Rio Dyer beat 8 defenders. And that's the same as our mate Ratatouille. Both of them beat 8 defenders. Rio was excellent, wasn't he?
Rio
really
was having to beat 8 defenders when he's got 15 defenders in front of him.
Yeah.
Their winger only had to beat 1 defender to then have a 50-meter run to the line. It's because we're not getting Rio the ball in good positions. He's having to do so much with a lot in front of him, sadly. It does frustrate me.
Yeah.
In case people haven't noticed.
Yeah. What else have I got? Oh, just mentioning the crowd again. Like I said, to get over 7,000. If Dragons carry on like this, right, and they're good to watch, because they are good to watch them, and I am enjoying watching this team.
Yeah.
If people continue to buy into the local lads and this team, there's no reason why they can't get 7,000 every week at Rodney. Every home game should be 7,000. That's what we should be aiming for. You know, we're not going to sell it out. I think that's unrealistic right now. But they carry on like this. People can see the Dragons are improving, can't they? You know, and people do. They want to get involved in that. You know, that people want to see a team that's competitive and winning games. So, and we didn't lose. So 5 home wins. Sorry, 5 home games, and we haven't lost.
Fortress
Rodney Parade.
Fortress.
Yeah. So yeah.
Bring on the Bulls.
Oh goodness me, I don't want to think about the Bulls right now. But yeah, like I said, I came away from that game positive on the whole, thinking we got away with one, and delighted at the fight and grit that we showed. I was more positive about that result than other people. And yeah, you got the same lines of thinking as me, haven't you, Gavin? That
Yeah,
I said to you after the game, I said, I'll take that.
yeah. I wasn't disappointed when Angus. Yeah, I was disappointed he'd missed the kick, but I wasn't disappointed with the result. I thought, I'll
No.
take it because
It was a very tight angle that you would like. I didn't expect him to kick it. So when we scored that try, it was like, we've drawn this. I never thought for a second Angus was going to kick it because it was a very difficult conversion. I'm not putting any blame on Angus for that. What I will say though, and it's got to be
I
called
know what you're
out.
gonna say.
I'm sorry. Listen, right? I love Angus to bits. I really do. On his day, he's brilliant and he does amazing things, but he is prone to making really bad howlers. When we won that penalty, I thought in front of the post. Now I thought we were going to take the 3 points because the line out was, like I said, was
Yeah,
awful. He kicks to the corner. No problem with that. I thought, okay, I thought you would have gone for the free. Line out's not functioning, but fine. That missed kick to touch though. I'm sorry. That is fucking inexplicable. It was awful. Really, really bad. As good as Angus was, that was a terrible, terrible error. And
yeah,
do you know what it reminded me of? I had flashbacks. So, do you remember when we played Benetton, when Bernard Jackman was coach? And I don't know if you remember this, Gareth, if you was at the game. For some reason, Bernard Jackman played Zane Kirshner at 10. Do you remember him, Zane Kirshner?
Yeah,
The
yeah,
South African fullback from Leinster. No,
yeah.
when Dragon signed him, he was past his best. He was way past his best. He wasn't
Yeah,
very good for us at
that's
all.
an understatement.
Yeah, so Jackman played him at 10 because he didn't like Dorian Jones. So
Yeah.
he put St. Kirshner. The exact same thing happened to St. Kirshner. He missed a kick to touch from exact the same position as Angus. And it brought me right back to that moment. I thought that was an inexplicably bad howler. As good as Angus was, I thought that was really, really poor. Two things can be true at the same time. I thought he had a brilliant game. Yes, his
yeah,
kicking was great. But moments like that, that's why I really struggle with Angus. Because he does brilliant things, but then he also does things like that. And it just makes me think, oh, my head was in my hands because it was such a critical time in the game as well. And I wish now he'd gone for 3 points. I know with the benefit of hindsight, but that was I thought that was quite costly. That was a coach killer. That was the definition of a coach killer right there.
It definitely was costly, but the only thing I would say with Angus is I love that he always goes for broke no matter what.
Oh yeah,
And we sort
yeah.
of, I think when you've got a player who's doing those touch finders and they do go for broke a lot and put it right on the 5, you're going to have the odd one. And you've just, even though it was such a killer at that moment, it's going to happen at some
But
point.
from that distance, though, Gareth, this
Yeah, it was a
I thought
tough
that
one, wasn't it? Yeah,
yeah, I thought that was a really big moment, big moment.
frustrating.
Yeah, because we know Angus is really, really good and he does
We
brilliant things. But then,
we
like
were
I
in the
said, it's
middle
the
of the Men
howlers.
of Gwent song at the time, and then everyone was like, "Oh," we just stopped because everyone was like, "What the fuck happened there?" Yeah, it's a bit getting
Yeah,
bit of a momentum killer, wasn't it?
I scored a coach killer. I do. I think things like our coach killer.
Yeah.
But like I said, I think Angus had a really good game. But I'm not going to lie, I am going to call it out. I thought that was an inexplicably bad error. But we're not perfect. We all make bad errors, don't we? I suppose. But yeah, I think that's just Angus, though, isn't it? He does brilliant things, but then there's the odd howler, and I guess you have to accept that. Right. Do you any of you have any more you want to say about the game before we move on?
no.
No, all
No?
good.
Yeah. Happy days. Okay, so just a reminder, if you do enjoy the pod, please leave us a nice review. 5 stars on Apple or Spotify will get you a shout out. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please like this video because that really does help us. And have a look at the pop-up shop down below. So you click on the link and you've got some merch for sale, t-shirts, hoodies, and mugs. Apparently, someone have bought some merch. I don't know how many other people, just one person, I think. I don't know, but they have bought merch. So excellent. Yeah, if you like to get your hands on some Dragon Slayer merch, just click the link in the YouTube video. Yeah, good stuff. Right, time for Gwent Rugby Roundup. Before we go into this, Gav, did you see that statement from Ebervale
I
accusing
did.
Newport of a lack of respect and sportsmanship because
I
they
did.
changed the venue at short notice? What did you think of that?
Uh, yeah. it's not becoming a club at that level. That's the kind of shit that happens at my level. Like, I'm a league secretary. I have to deal with that kind of thing a lot lower down the ladder.
Yeah.
I'm an Evervale boy, but come on, boys.
It was a bit chippy, wasn't it? Really,
Yeah,
really chippy. And I kind of understand what they were saying, though. Like, the rationale given was that Newport City Football Club were playing at Spitty Park on Sunday, and they said the post couldn't be changed over in time because there was no one available to carry out the work. And you're thinking, it's a bit lame, isn't it? There must be someone available to change the post. So I can understand, but I just thought that statement was really chippy and very Welsh rugby, wasn't it?
yeah. Oh, and they've doubled down on it on their Evervale website as well. It's like, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Particularly with the result as well.
Yes, there's a bonkers game at Ronnie Parade, apparently. So, yeah, get into it if you like.
Yes. Red cards, yellow cards,
Mm,
extra time.
yeah.
Yeah, it sounded quite the game. So I'm just have to get that score because I didn't have that one because the game hadn't finished when I was writing my notes earlier on. So the
Um,
final score was 48 to
yes.
34 to Newport, with a number of tries scored in the extra time. Red cards, I think there were 4 yellow cards shown in total as well.
I'd love to have gone to that. That sounded like a absolutely bonkers game.
Yeah.
Classic
And,
Gwent derby.
and then in the other SRC Cup tie being played, Llandovery beat Pontypool 26-24. Premiership, mixed day for our clubs in the Premiership. Cross Keys losing at home 14 to 36 to Pontypridd. Bargoed winning away 15, they won 21-15 away to Neath. And Newbridge drew 26 all with Ystrad. The Championship, Bridgend Athletic 49, Ablairi Balaina Gwent 12, Penaltha 14, Bedwas 35, and Talawine 24, Mountain Ash 15. Division 1, Abergavenny 7, Newport High School All Boys 40, Blackwood 26, Nelson 19, Blaina 31, Dowless 15, and tight game at Monmouth 15, Brimrow 19. Division 2, Abercorn 41, Pontypool United 17, Caldicot 12, Rumney 34, Cumbran 17, Ask 37, Pill Harriers versus Croeso was postponed, St Genef 15, Newport Saracens 28. Division 3, Chepstow 31, Cardiff 14, Gwynedd 60, Risca 5. Oh, God, that'd have been a horrible journey back. Long way up there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Machen 13, Fleur-de-Lis 25, New Panteg 24, Kylian 34, and RTB Ebervale 13, Nantiglow 24. Division 4, Abertwsog 19, Crickhowell 36, Bedwelldy 14, Whitehead 34, Llanilleth 15, Derry 17, Pontefraith 12, Crumlin 19, and Tredegar Ironsides 20, Oakdale 54. Lots of points there.
Mm.
Division 5, Bargoed Athletic versus Fordside was postponed, as was Trinant versus Betos. Havard Ynys 29, Abersucken 15, Hollybush 8, Blackwood Stars 17. Division 6, Brynithel 20, Hirwaun 6, New Tredegar 64, Mago 7, Penaltha Athletic 43, Old Hilarion 12, and St Julian's 15, Girlin 0. Dragons Athletic League, the Chepstow Druids 17, the Gaundy 5 Gorillas 21, Gwynedd Athletic 31, Annisty Rats 17, and Nelson Nomads 24, Blackwood Griffins 13. Women's rugby, Gwalia Lightning lost 7 points to 52 at home to the Wolfhounds. In the women's Premiership, Annisty versus Buryport was postponed, and in the East Wales League, Abercynon 71, Ebervale 0. And on the subject of
NSD?
Annisty, yes,
Yes.
we've got a message from Annisty. and we like to share things from our grassroots clubs. So
Yep.
on April the 25th, Annisty RFC proudly hosts the Geraint Gladwin Cup, a celebration of a true Gwent Valley's rugby man. Geraint's journey started in mini rugby with Risca before playing for Cwm Carn and his Loyne schools. He followed his father Ray George Gladwin into Annisty Youth and made his first underage appearance for the club at just 15. You'd get chucked out of the WRU now, but that is what used to happen. From that moment on, no matter where he played, if anyone asked what his club was, the answer was always the same. Annisty, said with pride, even if most people couldn't spell or pronounce it. He represents... Yeah, I'd eyes them from Evervale, and people are like, where's that? Oh, it's fine. I just
I
say,
heard, I heard people pronounce it as Ennis Doo-Doo.
it's still to...
It's Ennis Steve, but because it's double D-U, they go Ennis Doo-Doo.
Well, I'm sure I've told this story before. A friend of mine, Kevin, his grandfather, entirely Welsh speaking, so double L in Welsh, of course, is a different sound. And he'd be watching the football, he'd say, Bark, where's Hach and Mick Wach? So we'll go back to what we were talking about there.
Yes.
He represented South Mon in the district side, that won the district's cup, played for Gwent Youth and earned a Welsh youth trial. His senior career saw him spend 9 seasons at Ablairi RFC, famously part of the green and white side that beat Swansea RFC on the final day of the season to secure Premiership survival. He played 6 seasons at Newbridge, 3 at Cross Keys, a spell at Abercarn before returning home to Annisty, where he's continued to coach his beloved Red and Blacks ever since. The club has always been family to Geraint, and this cup is about celebrating loyalty, community, and grassroots rugby at its best. The day will also feature Annisty's first ever veterans match against travelling Essex side Rochford 100 RFC. And very good club. Rochford went unbeaten for 4 seasons going up the English system, making a fantastic occasion on and off the pitch. So join us on April the 25th at Annisty RFC for the Geraint Gladwin Cup and be part of a special day honouring one of our own. See the Annisty RFC page for tickets.
Yeah. It's a double header. It's Annisty Old Dogs versus Rochford 100 Vets, as you said, Gav, but also they play Abertillery
Oh, nice.
afterwards as well, which is if you listen to the rap pod, that's Dan's team. He coaches Abertillery. So yeah, that'll be an interesting game. And just to say as well, any clubs listening to this, if you have an event or tournament you want to promote, then get in touch and we'll happily do it when we go, because we want to hear more from grassroots clubs. So if they got any like I said, events or matches they want to promote, let us know. Yes. So thank you to Lloyd who got in touch with me from NSD, and yeah, happy to help, happy to promote all Gwent clubs. That's something we want to do more of.
Absolutely.
We should try get someone from a grassroots club on the show, because we've only had
Nutridiga.
yes, Nutridiga. My mind went completely blank then. Yes, Nutridiga we've had on. Grav, wasn't it? We had on from Nutridiga.
Yes.
So yeah, lovely stuff. Okay. Moving on. And so Dragons aren't back in action now until Sunday, the 22nd of March. And they're going to go to South Africa to face the Stormers. And then they got a 6-day turnaround to face the Lions in Johannesburg. And then they fly to Paris to face Stade Francais in the Challenge Cup. That's a tricky schedule, isn't it?
It really is.
In the next 5 fixtures, there's only one game at home, and that's the Bulls on Friday, 17th of April. So the scheduling isn't great. Lots of games on the road. But yeah, we haven't got a game now for a couple of weeks. No more injuries, Dragons, please. Okay, get the physios working overtime. I don't want to see any more injuries. Because every time we have a break, we come back with more injuries than when we were playing. It's very weird. I don't know what goes on at Bustrom.
That is a tough schedule, though, isn't it?
It is. And obviously it's bad news because we won't have Levi. He's going to be banned for, I'd say, 3 or 4 games. So we're going to miss him. And yeah.
He'll be banned for 3 or 4 games.
Well, it'll go to disciplinary, won't it?
Oh, I didn't.
It's a crock roll. Yeah, he's got to go for a disciplinary meeting in the URC then, in front of a panel.
Oh,
So
completely forgot about
well, I think it could even be more than that, but I reckon it'd be about 3 or 4 weeks. They might give him a week off for good behaviour, but they are clamping down really hard on this World
They
Rugby.
really are.
These croc rules, and rightly so, because it is really dangerous, mind, you know. Even though Levi wasn't fully committed, I completely understand because once you land on the lower limb, you're in trouble, Gavin.
Oh
You know,
yeah,
things like that.
absolutely. Yeah. You've got to be, kind of any form of croc roll where those kind of body positions are being twisted up. They will penalise you for, for a long time.
Yeah, so we got a few players on the injured list. Let's hope some of them come back for South Africa because that's, like I said, 6 day turnaround out there. It's going to be very tough, very, very tough. And the Lions are going well this season as well. They had a very good win against the Stormers on the weekend. So yeah, tough, tough schedule. And we got ages now, Gav, to the next home game.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame, isn't it? You go over there. Like I
There's
said,
no
there's no
continuity there, is there, at all
no
in this
place I'd
scheduling?
rather be. Yes, it is frustrating because you think how many, especially there was a lot of kids there Saturday as well, wasn't there, which was really good to see.
Yes, it was, yeah.
And how many of them would have, especially like the ending, like the drama, the noise, would have loved
Mhm.
that and been like, right, when's the next one? Ages. Like if it was 2 weeks, you start to build habits. And that it's not the Dragons' fault. It's just a frustration, isn't it?
No, I know a lot of people complain at the Dragons about schedule. I've seen people complaining about the Dragons when, the Super Rugby Cymru fixtures are on the same day. They're like, why is Newport playing the same day as Dragons? Why, it's like, well, that's not the Dragons' fault. They don't
No.
have any control over fixtures. They have zero control. So, yeah, it's hard, isn't it, to build a habit when the games, you play one game, 3 weeks off, you're back, you play another game, and then I don't know, but it really did shaft us, didn't it, having those home games in the first block like that cluster of home games.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's not ideal, is it? But
no, we got to wait a few more weeks now before we get back on Rodney Parade. It's a shame.
it is a proper tough block, isn't it? I'd look. I think
Mm.
we've never taken a losing bonus point away from South Africa, and I think
We've never
once.
won in South Africa, have we?
No, we've definitely never won that,
No.
and only once have we scored 4 tries. 2002 against the Stormers with JJ Hanrahan at 10. So I think we need to be targeting coming away with from 2 games at least 2 points. Really, give ourselves something to come back with because I am interested in the league table this year.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely a tough block, but that's the league we're in. We need
I
to
always
be a
feel,
tough team as well.
no, I agree. I always feel like Lions away is the most winnable, but they're playing really well
Yeah.
this season. I mean, Dragons away form is pants, as we all know. I mean, they couldn't even beat the Southern Kings when they was in the Pro 12 away from home. They were terrible, weren't they? But Dragons couldn't beat them in South
Didn't we
Africa.
play the Lions 2 years ago and they had a man sent off and was straight away? And I thought, oh, we're in here, and they just trounced us, didn't they?
Yeah, they scored that length of the field try
Yeah.
from their own 22, didn't they?
Yeah.
That's when Dragons were absolutely hopeless. But yeah, we've never been good traveling on the road. So that's the mentality they need to fix as well. The coaches, they're talking about mentality and culture.
Yeah.
They've really got to sort out this away form because I think it's up to 4 years now, isn't it? April 2022.
Yeah.
We last won a URC game. That's embarrassing. That is genuinely embarrassing. That should shame everybody at the club that they haven't won the away game for that amount of time. So that needs to be fixed. Right, moving on then. I'm not going to spend too long on it because I am conscious of time, but I do want to briefly mention Wales, Six Nations. Are we enjoying the Six Nations this year?
No.
You're not enjoying. I think it's been a good tournament. Gareth?
I'm enjoying all the games apart from Wales.
Yeah. I'm the same. I'm loving watching France, loving watching England losing, despite me saying England would win a Grand Slam at the start of it.
I tipped England to win the Six
Yeah.
Nations. How wrong we were. I think it's really odd how bad they've been. They've been really woeful, haven't they, England?
I had a lovely time last Saturday. So I'd played in the cup final, and then we were watching the England game in the host club. And there's me, the skipper of the Vets team was Irish guy, and then everyone else is supporting England, and the two of us were just laughing like drains.
Yeah, I didn't expect them to be this poor thing. Like I said, same as you, Gavin. I had them down to win. I don't know if I predicted a Grand Slam, but I certainly had them down. Don't forget, mine, they won like 11, 12 games on the bounce before.
11 on the spin, yeah.
Yeah, 11 on the spin going into the Six Nations. So it looks like France is going to win it, though, don't it? Let's be honest.
I love watching this France team. It's just silly.
BRBRA, so
pretty
good,
special,
isn't he?
aren't
Yeah, DuPont. It's just absolutely super.
Jamine, Ramos, all of them.
Yeah, really, really good.
Oh,
At Sogby, the
thought you were
wing,
saying
I like
the Dragons shopping list then, Gav. I thought you had some inside news. That was...
Yeah, I'd love to see. To Jamine. Yeah. Come and live in Newport. It's like the French Riviera of Gwent.
Well, we've spoken about Anton DuPont. That was discussed, wasn't it? By the board, as Reece Blumberg said. Why can't we sign DuPont? I can think of a million reasons why, Reece, but never mind.
Literally a million reasons.
Yes. Oh, that's the dream. That's the dream. So Wales results then, for me, as expected, although we should have beaten Scotland. That's the one that got away. I thought we were really good against Scotland. Wainwright has been outstanding.
Yeah.
He is Wales's best player by a country mile. He's having a fantastic tournament. Shout out to Ben Carter, someone I've spoken a lot about on this pod.
Yeah. It's
time for me to wax lyrical about him now again. So Ben made his first Six Nations start against Scotland. And I'm not just saying because I'm biased. He was excellent, wasn't he?
Oh, he was, yeah.
He was absolutely excellent.
Phenomenal.
Further proof that he's incredibly underrated. And I think what annoyed me, and I've spoken on the group chat about this, there was this narrative that when Beard was dropped, rightly so, because he was poor in the autumn and he was poor in the Six Nations, and I like Adam Beard, but he was dropped, and this narrative that the lineup would go to shit when he's not there, with Ben Carter coming in. Well, I think that was proven to be a load of bollocks, wasn't it? That's a false narrative. Didn't happen. And as much as I like Adam Beard, I don't think we missed him one bit.
100% lineup, wasn't it?
100%
Ben Carter
lineup
was phenomenal. I mean, the commentator genuinely didn't know his name, didn't know he was playing, wouldn't mention him, but he was absolutely brilliant. The work rate, the dominant hits as well.
22 tackles.
He was so physical. I just thought, he's bulked up a bit the last 2 years. He's really coming of age. Just absolute pleasure to watch him and Wayno. I mean, Wayno, I'll honestly wear a layer off the old boy watching him. He's so good. He's just one of the best players. He should have been a Lion. Wayno would not have been out of place on the Lions tour. He's phenomenal. Wales' best player.
Yeah, 100%. Gavin?
Yeah, I think in kind of Carter had a great game. I was really impressed with him. But I'm always really impressed with him because it's just work rate. There's nothing phenomenal about it. He just gets around the field, does a lot, doesn't he? And I saw it was Robbie on the Squids podcast video saying, David Jenkins was like an Alan Wynne-Jones performance. Well, I thought Carter actually played better personally, but maybe there's a bit of bias creeping in there.
Both were excellent. I thought Carter was outstanding, and I was just so pleased for him because when it was announced that Beard was, dropped and Carter come in, the usual plastic trolls on social media who haven't got a clue. They don't watch rugby week in, week out like we do. They watch Wales 5-6 times a year, think they know everything about Welsh rugby, saying Carter's rubbish, should be nowhere near the squad. And I just think, well, you clearly don't know what you're on about. And he was absolutely outstanding. And he's not a flashy player, right? Ben Carter, you're not going to get many YouTube compilation videos of Ben Carter because he does all the unseen work, the dirty work. And I thought he was absolutely outstanding. And that partnership now of Dav Jenkins and Ben Carter, that should be going forward for the rest of the tournament. Now, I want them starting.
Modern day second row partnership, that isn't it? Big work rate, big men getting around the park. Yeah.
And I hope now people will actually respect Ben Carter. He'll get some respect now. Because that's what's really annoying me is that he's not getting any plaudits or respect for his performances. And he has been outstanding this season. I keep saying it because he's been really good. And
that's why Dav Jenkins gets so much more praise as well, though, because there's no regions bias. People don't hate him because he plays for one of the other clubs.
That's right.
He's outside of the bowl, isn't he? So it's okay for everyone to give him plaudits. with Ben, no one wants to give out. Wayno's literally had to carry Wales for people to go, yeah, he's pretty good. Like, fuck it now.
Yeah, but I was really impressed. And like I said, I like Adam Beard. I've had arguments with people on social media and in group chats about Adam Beard. I know he's a Marmite player, but I do think he's a very good player. But as you know, I'll always call it out. If you're not performing, go say it. He's not performed for Wales. He didn't perform in the autumn, and he didn't perform in the Six Nations. It's absolutely right. He was dropped. And, do I think he should get his place back? Not really, if I'm honest.
Ben
So
deserves
we
to
know
keep his spot, 100%.
he does. He does. And we know what Beard can do. And also, as well, Carter's maul defense is actually better than people give it credit for as well. He's not just an excellent line-out operator. And that's another thing that annoys me. People say, oh, the line-out could go to pot without Beard. As if Ben Carter's never called a line-out before. Do you know what I mean? Like, he calls them for the Dragons every week. He's called line-outs for Wales. He did so against South Africa. Now, I know we got absolutely pumped, but the line-out was the one.
Fault.
No, but the line-out was the one area where Wales were really good in that game. The line-out worked well.
And
I think it was him and Rhys Davies,
when he had a start before, and he had a great game. I mean, granted, it was Canada, but still for Wales.
But he has called lineouts before. Yeah. I thought this narrative of, oh, well, the lineout's going to go to pot without Beard, It's like, no, it won't. Oh, the maul defense won't be as good. It'll be fine. Because Ben Carter can do all those things. Yeah.
Love
Superb.
Ben Carter.
So do I. I feel very protective of him. And I don't like when I see the plastic trolls making comments about a player that they don't watch week in, week out.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But yeah, that's Facebook for you though, isn't it? So Ireland on Friday night. I think that's going to be a pumping.
Yeah.
They're going to be on a massive high after smashing England at Twickenham. The Italy game. This is our one chance, isn't it, to finally get a win in the Six Nations. Do either of you think? Because, we saw a lot of improvement against Scotland. Could have and should have won. Can we beat Italy? Can Wales get a win in the Six Nations, Gavin?
Can they? Yes. Will they? No.
I knew you'd say that. I knew it. Oh. Gareth, can Wales get a win in the Six Nations? Can they beat Italy?
No. I just, it's not because we're bad. I think Italy are good.
Yeah, I'm with Gareth.
They are.
Yeah, I think they're probably better than Scotland, even though the results don't suggest that.
Yeah, I think we took a step in the right direction, but there's a lot more work to be done with Wales in there. I'm sure we're not going to be having wooden spoons forever. But I don't think it's going to change this year.
No, unfortunately. They've now announced a new defence coach, haven't they?
Yeah, which is good news.
Yeah, finally. The name escapes me. I did have it written down.
Peter Murchie.
That's it, yeah. He was Glasgow's former defence coach, and then he's gone out in Japan. I think he was defence coach when they won the league, wasn't he?
He had the best defence in the league.
That's promising.
So well respected up there. Johnny McGinty rates him.
That's it. I think people are saying, no, he's not a big name. It's like, he's a title-winning coach. What more do you want? You can't just go, we'll always just take the world champions coach. Like, it's just not going to happen.
No, Johnny McGinty rates him quite highly.
Time will tell, but it seems to me like on the face of it, a very good appointment.
Yeah, and Tandy's been in post now 8 months, and it's absolutely ridiculous that WRU have only now given him a specialist defence coach. Now, I know Tandy is a defence coach, but that's his trade, but he can't do it all by himself either, can he? It's hard to be head coach and defence coach. You do need other men around you. I think the WRU failed Tandy on that regard, I'm sorry to say.
I think they failed him on coaching full stop because he's not.
Bloody part-timers.
They brought in Sherratt and Danny Wilson, which weren't his selections.
But a lot of them are part-time and inexperienced. Like, Rhys Patchell and Dan Lydiot, they're our coaches, Dragons coaches, but they're new. They're learning on the job, but then they're expected to coach at international level. It's crazy. They haven't really cut their teeth as coaches yet.
No.
So, there's a lot of talk about Wales, isn't there, with Matt Sherratt. So I read an interesting article in the Times. I think it was written by Steve James. And he was implying that Sherratt has a big say on team selection, which doesn't surprise me.
That's a bloody worry.
Well, I'm not saying like he picks the team and Tandy just sits there and accepts it. I don't think it's that level of control. But he does have a big say over team selection, apparently. Like I said, which don't surprise
I
me.
lost all faith in that bloke on that summer tour to Japan when he didn't bring Rodri on and picked Liam Belcher. Just, there you go. I wasn't going to do it, but you can get fucked because that's annoyed me.
I'm warming to Alex Mann, I'll be honest.
Oh,
Yeah.
right, Gav, you're teetering. You're nearly on the list.
So Gareth,
not having it.
Gareth is not a fan.
I know
of
he's
Alex
not a
Mann.
fan.
No, he's
First
not.
of all, he plays for the wrong club. So that is a massive mark against him. No, he's all right. He had a decent game on the weekend, didn't he?
He had his best game for us against Scotland.
Yeah.
I'll give him credit
Low
on
bar
that.
though, but yeah.
I think the problem with Mann for me is I still don't really know what his role in this Wales team is, because the problem is he's not big or abrasive enough for 6, but then he's not the breakdown specialist you need at 7. And that's not to say he can't turn over ball. He did turn over some ball against Scotland, didn't he? I think he had a couple of turnovers, but he's not that fetcher you need at the breakdown.
No.
He seems to be in the team for his really high work rate and winding opponents up.
And do you know what? The work rate's great. Like we talked about Carter's work rate, but Carter was making dominant hits, and I just don't see dominant hits from Mann. He absorbs a lot of tackles. I think give it time, Harry Beddle will be in there.
Yeah, someone else was saying that to me in a pub on Saturday. I don't know. I always think, though, it's the size thing with Beddle. That's what a lot of people will say. Some people will say Beddle's too small for international rugby. And I think, well, if you're turning over ball and you can replicate your club performances on the international stage, then...
Yeah, ask all the people that he's whacking at Rodney Parade if he was too small. I'm sure they'll say otherwise. And look at people like Michael Hooper, probably one of my favourite 7s, the Aussie.
Yeah.
He's only
Neil Back.
Do you know what I mean? I think Harry Beddle's
size does
matter
at international level in particular, but I think
if
you've got the skill, if you've got the skill set, then you can off-ride that. Do you know what I mean? You can.
Yeah, it does, and as long as you can pick a big pack around him as well, which we can. It does annoy me when we say we haven't got big players in Wales. When I'm like,
I don't think we've got enough though. I don't think we've got enough. We are smaller than other nations.
We haven't got aggressive, dominating big people. We've got plenty of big players. Like, I think it's the attitude half the time.
Commentary team yesterday on Premier Sports saying about Levi Douglas being Welsh qualified and he would bring something else to the Welsh setup.
Hey, I said to Tandy.
Tandy
was sat next to me. I can't remember what game it was. And they said to Steve Tandy, they said, you come on the field. Was it Ospreys?
No, that was a pretend, wasn't it? It's an Nestle game.
Yeah. Lance Bradley was sat behind me when we played Ospreys in Rodney Parade. We played him at Rodney Parade. He was sat right behind me, Lance Bradley. But I said to Steve, he's Welsh qualified, mine, Steve. And he looked at me and he went, thank you. And that was it. That's all I got out of him. No, he was good to chat to, actually, Steve Tandy. So yeah, he won't help himself getting sent off like that, doing croc rolls. So Levi, if he is like, he could have been watching Tandy at home. He's thinking, take a look at Levi doing well, and then there's a croc roll. I shouldn't laugh because it's not funny. They're very
leave our Levi with us. I'm happy days in being a Dragons boy, to be fair. Don't worry about Wales.
It's funny, isn't it? People say, they criticise Dragons because they don't supply enough players to us. I mean, I say that we are supplying players, they're just not getting picked. That's the way I always
Shea Hope should have been in, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Like Woodman's saying now should have been there. Shea Hope should have been there. But we get criticised for it, but then you get supporters online saying, no, I don't want them called up. I want them to stay because they get injured playing for Wales. I'm like, well, they get injured playing for the Dragons.
Yeah, no, I do want them called up. I'm only sort of joking. That's the pinnacle.
Partially joking.
Yeah, partially, yeah.
Oh, dear. Right, so, so we don't think Wales are going to win?
No.
Okay, Six Nations.
No.
Do you?
I think they are. I always said their best opportunities for a win would be Scotland or Italy. And we came very close against Scotland. Very, very close. That Darcy Graham try was an absolute killer. And that was a coach killer as well, because we just scored from that penalty. And I know a lot of people were blaming Hamer Webb for it, but, James Botham turned his back. It was a collective fault. A lot of players just didn't expect it. So it's unfair to put it all on Hamer Webb, who, by the way, I thought wasn't very good against Scotland.
I don't know what he did.
No, he's pretty anonymous, wasn't he?
Rio Dyer would have done more.
Oh, God, yeah. And he would have got back in time as well.
How's Rio not in the Welsh squad? See, we have got players who are good. Rio should have been in.
Yeah, we've had this conversation.
Yeah,
This
we've
is
had
because
it. We've had it. Sorry.
no, Steve Tandy watched a couple of Leicester Tigers games on TV, a couple of Champions Cup games, and Hamer Webb did well in those, didn't he? Like he hasn't been a regular
What a load of
starter for
nonsense.
Leicester, but I thought he was largely anonymous. What's happened to Tom Rogers, by the way? He feels like the forgotten man, doesn't he?
Yeah.
You know, he had that hat trick against New Zealand, and it's like we don't see him now for Wales. What's all that about?
And he's been one of the better backs of during the recent,
I like Tom Rogers a lot. I think he's a good player. I'm not sure if Reece Sammet is working out at 15 though.
Oh
I'm
God,
not
no.
sure. What do you think, Gavin? You don't see it
Oh
either, do you?
God, no. He's a 15. Like I'm a 15, mate. It's
Well, you and Zamet have got a lot of similarities,
Yeah,
Gav.
yeah, we can, yeah.
well, rather disturbingly, last week I wound up at outside centre at the end of the game.
Jesus Christ. You have played every position, Gavin, you on the field. Is that right? You have.
I have, yeah.
Oh,
Brilliant.
fair play. But are you a second row then? What is your actual position?
Well, I was a winger when I was a kid. And,
Sorry, I don't know why I'm laughing. Sorry, I don't.
And then when I go back into playing rugby as an adult in my late 20s, early 30s, I played second row, back row.
Fair play. You're like the Austin Healey of grassroots rugby. You don't speak as much shit as Austin Healey.
Well, I'd say I'm equally hated by some, but
Oh dear. Right then, let's wrap this up. It's been another long pod, but it's a bumper pod. But you won't hear off us now for another couple of weeks. So yeah, lots covered. Thank you very much, gents. It's been a pleasure as always. Thank you to our friends at the Riverside Sports Bar for their continued support of the pod. We'll be back in a couple of weeks now, near the end of March. Yeah, we'll talk about Dragons. Hopefully no injuries. I don't want to be starting off with injury news. Yeah, we'll talk about the South African games. And yeah, make sure you're subscribed to us on your podcast provider so you don't miss an episode. Thank you for listening. I will speak to you again very soon. Up the Dragons.